How could this have happened here? Of all the capitals, of all the nations on Earth, none more vigilant, safeguarded, prepared. Was it vanity? Bad luck? Or something more sinister? One thing is beyond question. This is where we push back. This is our defining moment. If we fail, our nation falls. We are the free world's last line of defense.
Matt, that crash site is just ahead. Duke, Kit, did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Closer this time.
Charles Darwin surmised that the flower was pollinated by an undiscovered moth. 21 years after
Look at this parachute. Dropped right through the ceiling. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, that'll come in handy.
So you guys are coming, or what?
Yeah. Oh, Merry Christmas. Ah, here's the door.
Karpinski, it's the division.
Alright, let me just talk to this guy.
Glad to see you.
We got a boy here who's gonna die without his meds. Those True Sons assholes confiscated him, along with most of our drinking water. Up around
Okay,
Pinwater Station.
meet us at the
I
sinkhole?
wouldn't
Yep.
ask for help anyway.
Okay, sure.
I don't know what else to do.
Wow. Okay.
Definitely from the capital. You should have a new side mission on the map.
Yeah, we're not that far.
Okay, do it after the crash site?
Sounds good. They're just ahead of us, Matt.
Hey, I see you. I'll be up in a sec.
Kit, we gotta get you leveled up.
I know, please help. I've been busy.
Toxic chemical residue detected.
A lot of loot down there.
Hey, you guys should really check this out.
Almost there. So that's the control point.
Hey, wait for me.
Crap, they have a tank.
Yep, I see him.
Don't aggro him yet.
Let me adjust my build.
Got my crossbow and chem launcher. Chem cloud out. Matt, can you flank them and get a clear shot?
I'll take that sniper on top. Wait for it. Got her.
Matt, look out! Alright, let me try to get that tank off you.
More bad guys on the other side of the plane.
Grenade, grenade!
Dude, come on.
Yep.
Matt, I need your help. Over here.
Over there! Over by the floodlight!
Seeker mine out. Whoa! Oh, I'm stuck. Use a little help.
There's a dude rushing through the plane. Guys.
Yep, I'll see what I can do. Got him. I'm down.
Yeah, hang on, I'll get you. I'll cover you guys.
Come on, come on. Get that weak point.
Oh crap. Matt, watch out. Setting my drone.
Thank you for the revive, Meg.
I've got this guy behind the tank.
Matt with the hive knife.
Alright, just lay it on him.
Again?
Drone down.
Now there goes his armor.
Ah! You're on your own.
Keep going.
Good job. Level up. Level 30.
Oh, sweet. Congrats.
Alright, flare is up. Control point is ours. Nice. Guys wanna check out the plane? Let's go.
Analyzing ballistic residue.
Looks
No
like a
match found.
rough landing. Jesus!
Whoa, that's nuts.
Let's check it out.
Great idea. Let's just die.
So, game plan. Take the capital back. I think we're ready. 3, 2, 1, go, 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 go!
True Sons have this area locked down, but if you can capture their control point, you'll be clearing the way for the settlement to take it over.
So this is, the area we just sort of took a look at, but what's going on in this demo?
Well, the cool thing about this demo is, this is not some scripted mission, it's not a side mission, it's not a main mission, this is just the open world. This is the living world that we're creating. So the players are just exploring the living world right now, and they come upon a control point, and that's one of these things I was talking about, where that the True Sons faction have moved in there to try to lock it down. And if you get in there, you can call civilians to help you and try to take it back. And if you hold that, you're getting resources for the civilians. You're helping them out. And these types of things can just occur throughout the living world, right? They're different every time you play, and we really want to increase the replayability of even this aspect of the game.
Yeah, and so we're looking here at a 4-person squad, right? Sort of switching between angles. Walk us through a bit of what these players are doing, what each specialization might be.
Yeah, so I think like the most noticeable thing right off the bat is they're using cover a lot, and that's a core pillar of what we're trying to do. Is we want to really put an emphasis on the core shooter feel, right? So the lethality is, you really feel it. You want to fight from cover. It feels very tactical, and so you'll see them using a lot of very smart cover and getting kind of flushed out of that cover throughout the demo, right? And having to kind of react on the fly as to what the AI are doing. In terms of their skills, I love the deer. That's one of my favorite.
I love the deer.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of shooting the deer
in
my demo just to see if I could, and I felt so guilty.
It broke your heart.
It did. It did. People, don't shoot deers. Yeah. Don't do it, even in game.
But anyway, if we look at their actual loadouts, right? We can see here deploying a skill. They've thrown this hive out, and you can see this is one of the new skills that kind of shoots out these little micro drones that seek out targets. Kind of once again, just like a new toolbox for you to play with. Here we're using another one of the new skills that lets you throw out this kind of explosive mist into the air, and when bullets penetrate inside of it, it lights on fire. Okay. So there's
clouds of fire.
Clouds of fire, right? And you can imagine you could lay down this cloud of fire, throw the hive in there. The hive lets out the chain reaction of fire throughout the battlefield. We're trying to create a lot of interesting synergies between what players can actually build.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we started off in sort of a enclosed interior space, and now we see, you know, the Capitol building in the background. It's a much more open space, like you were talking about, than we'd ever seen before.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think even that first building we went through, you could have come in through the second story or the bottom and attacked from all these different angles, and it feels like you have options. But then you get into an environment like this, and you know, you could completely 360 flank around this space. There's tons of different tactical positions, and I really think it's going to add to the replayability of the game. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and you're totally right. You know, just even seeing here trees and grass and greenery, and you know, in the hot DC summer feels like a total change of pace for the Division.
That guy just got some sick loot out of that supply drop that was stuck up in the tree. We're trying to hide a lot of stuff like that around the space, which is cool.
Yeah, so I mean, the environments are worth exploring too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, you wanna pay attention and look around.
Not only pretty, but yeah, they got loot.
That's what this is really about. Just give me more loot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So here you can see, you know, the control point is up. The True Sons have captured it. When you go in, you could totally try to take this control point back on your own, or you could call in nearby allies. So you shoot off a flare, and that actually calls civilians to come and support you and try to take this back, and then they'll hold it. And they're really out there, and they really have to travel to this space, and it's all part of this living world simulation.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're looking at a 4-player team right now, but of course you can play this all by yourself. So if you need a little support,
absolutely.
shoot that flare up, right? You got
it. And you can kind of get into position, shoot off the flare, see them approaching, wait to attack until they're there, and kind of really plan out your attack in a more strategic way.
Yeah, that's awesome. So here they're fighting the True Sons. What's important about this point? Why is it a control point?
So each of the control points, there's lots of them littered all around the environment, but they're places that would have some sort of resource that these factions and these settlements need. So it might be, you know, water supplies or food, or there's varying things that they go after. But yeah, each environment has something that these factions want out of it. And this one on top of it is, you know, an amazing crashed Air Force One, which kind of does add to the spectacle.
Oh yeah, certainly. What I think what's cool that we're seeing here too.
Yeah, you'll see the task force has just arrived from when he kicked it in. Sorry to.
No, absolutely. But we get all these different perspectives, and you see how different you can play. You can be right up there in the middle with a shotgun. You know.
Yeah, like this person just pulled out their specialized weapon, which is the grenade launcher. And you actually have to collect special ammo for that. So you'll be collecting special ammo for your weapon as you play, and and then using it at really the right moment, right? So it's these big explosions of power that are super impactful on the battlefield.
Yeah, we just saw the drone there as well.
Yeah, this person just pulled out their 50 cal sniper rifle. It's pretty meaty.
We're jumping right into it. We're going to show live exclusive gameplay of The Division 2. Yeah. I have with me Matthias Carlson, right? Producer.
Matthias Carlson, yes.
And Christian Panner, game director and producer respectively. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Yeah, you
super
excited?
excited. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, congrats on the exciting reveal at the Microsoft conference, and obviously the amazing news during the UB conference. Yeah. So today, to our left, we've got Yannick Banchereau, comm dev on The Division 2, and 3 other devs from the massive development team. They'll be showing a 4-player co-op tackling a control post. And Yannick will be walking us through a little bit into his strategy. But first of all, I wanted to ask you guys, what are we going to see here?
Well, this is, first of all, actually the E3 demo that we're showcasing here at E3.
So
right?
people can play this at the LACC, at the Ubisoft.
If you're in LA and you're going to E3, you can play what they're playing right now. So that's awesome. That's really cool. So this is it's a tiny little slice of the open world in Washington, D.C. in the Division 2, right? And this is actually, they're on their way towards that same crash site that we saw in the E3.
Right, the
Microsoft brief, yeah.
Yeah, the crash of the Air Force One. Except right now, it's tackling at a different entry point than what was shown at the Microsoft conference. Am I right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so obviously the big reveal was the setting, Washington, D.C., capital city of America. Christian, I want to ask you, what was the reasoning behind that? Can you tell us a bit more?
Yes, absolutely. We were very excited to showcase that yesterday in our reveal, and to show more, of course, today. We had multiple options. We investigated multiple options, but for us, Washington, D.C. felt like the natural choice for 2 obvious reasons. One, of course, is the seat of power in U.S., and second, it's also the home of the headquarters of the division.
Right, the HQ of the division agents,
Absolutely.
right? That's awesome. And I can see there is no more snow nor ice. Can you tell us a little more about really the timeline from the division to the Division 2?
Yes, absolutely. In Washington, D.C., we are now in the middle of the summer, 7 months after the events in New York City. So the summer, the season, allow us to showcase a vibrant city where nature is now taking over the city.
It's beautiful. Hey Yannick, can you do just like a pan? Oh, I guess you're in action right now, but just like the pan of the city here. I mean, obviously, it's beautiful in its own way. It's got character. Yannick, why don't you tell us a bit more on how you plan to tackle your playthrough?
Try to spread around actually, so we can have a bit of a tactical approach to things and not just like face tank. So that's we'll see how that plays out.
I think we should pay extra attention to Yannick.
Yes, exactly, and just judge him.
Don't
no
judge
pressure.
me. I've been judged for my hand wave already earlier. So.
Okay, so Matthias and Christian, I played some of the Division. I haven't played hundreds of hours like the thousands of players out there. If there was a few things you could say about the Division 2 that new players should know, what would you say?
The list is long. I mean, we're very excited, both as gamers at the office and as devs, right? Of all the things we refined, tweaked, and tuned from the Division 1. Everything from the combat to refining the RPG and the game and all that. So there's a lot of that, but also a lot of new things. So I think where they are right now, the open world is one of them. It's first of all 20% bigger than the first game, New York, and it's very, very faithfully recreated, almost one-to-one with the actual DC, right?
That's amazing. And sorry to cut you off, but Christian, you mentioned, so you guys chose Washington, D.C. I'm curious, did the team take any trips there to kind of really get an authentic recreation of Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely. We had multiple trips after we chose this setting, and we met with different architects from the city, with urban explorers, with artists from local artists to make sure that everything it's looking beautiful in the game.
So people living in Washington, D.C. can kind of walk around and try to find their homes?
Absolutely. Although this is an interpretation of Washington, our interpretation of Washington, D.C. is going to be a bit more, let's say, with more nature into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then also this open world in the Division 2 is very much alive. We put a lot of love, sweat, and effort into creating this living world system where not just the enemy factions of the world spread out in different areas, right? But also the civilians that you're fighting to help and protect. They're all doing things in the open world dynamically.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're acting on needs for resources and goals of what they're trying to achieve, not least to control these key strategic locations like this control point here by the crash site. This creates a lot of movement and activity, and ultimately things for you to do as a player and surprise.
Right.
Because you don't know what's going to happen around the next corner. Right?
Absolutely, a lot of gameplay opportunities for the player to kind of pick and choose exactly what it is that they want to do. And so right now they have reached the control point. I take it. How you doing there, Yannick?
That's fine. We are kind of, we all enter from the same area. Actually, we just try to rush into it, and we are pushing our way through. So far it's fine, but we have the tank coming now, so...
Oh, well, good luck with that. Matthias, so what faction are they playing against right now?
They're playing against a faction called the True Sons. Nasty people.
Nasty people that they should get rid of.
Yeah.
And so I know another big reveal, big new feature that was mentioned during the Ubisoft conference are the specializations. Right. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Specializations is really adds a new extra layer and dimension to endgame, where you've been going on this incredible journey through the game, through the leveling game, the campaign. You've been growing in both power and capability.
Right.
You've been getting new skills, mods for those skills, weapons and gear, etc. When you get to endgame, you're presented with a choice of how do you really truly want to specialize now.
Right.
The first choice is the signature weapons that we saw in the conference, right?
Right, and I think it's important to note, I think that these specializations, they're not like roles that a player kind of sticks to. They can kind of choose to grow which skill tree, am I right?
Absolutely. Each one of them is a progression track in itself. It's not just a signature weapon, and this signature weapon, is important to note, it sits on top of the rest of your toolbox. You're not changing something out, you're gaining more things.
Right.
And then, very much along the lines of the design philosophy that we have, you're growing capability. So you can progress one specialization all the way, then the next one, and the next one.
And then you become the ultimate player.
Exactly, you get full flexibility to
And you're gonna need to become that, because we also announced today that for the first time in a division game we have raids.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Absolutely incredible challenges.
That's an 8-player co-op, is that
Absolutely. It's up to 8-player co-op, and you need to be prepared for that. It's gonna be very hard to tackle that challenge.
That is very cool. Yannick, how are we doing here?
Like that.
Like
Just blowing stuff up with my grenade launcher.
Have you been downed yet?
So Yannick, you're playing the demolition specialization, am I right?
Yes.
Can you show us what's signature weapon you've got equipped there?
Yeah, I got that nice grenade launcher here. And so I get to make a lot of very nice explosions.
You get to blow shit up?
Yeah, like that.
And our other massive developers here, I believe are playing Survivalist and Sharpshooter, am I right?
That's correct.
I don't know if we can get the player, the audience to see the skill set of the other specialists. I believe that's the Sharpshooter, am I right?
That's correct, yeah. So the demolitionist that Jank is playing has the grenade launcher, which is all about, you know, radius, controlling an area, creating mayhem, flushing enemies out of cover, getting several of them in the blast at the same time, etc. Right?
Absolutely.
Whereas the sharpshooter has this super powerful sniper rifle, 50 cal, that can penetrate several targets. So you can find your angles and line them up, and this feature that we have very prevalently in Division 2 on the enemy archetypes, the weak points.
Right.
That are associated with the enemy's special abilities.
Oh, it's great.
You can pop all of those coming in and out of the target.
Looks like Yannick actually did it. He captured the control
you
point.
You did it!
Congratulations.
Yay, congrats!
That's surprising.
That's
awesome. It is surprising.
I feel like he didn't do as good during the rehearsals, but I feel like the pressure has cost him to up his game. All right, so if I think we're done taking over this control point now. Yannick, why don't you come join us over here?
It's really directly fulfilling that fantasy of like, I really want to go in that kind of role, and I want to like grow more and more into it, especially in endgame, and so I think this is going to be something that Division players are going to love.
That's awesome. So let's check in with Think Pan over here. I think she may be trying to tackle the control point in a different way. I mean, and it's something that you can do in the Division, right? You can kind of really tackle any challenge the way that you want with the playstyle that suits you.
Right, and so it's important to note that what they're playing here, this is not a mission. Right, this is just one of the many open world activities that you encounter when you're out and about exploring the world. And that's another aspect of DC being a fantastic setting for us. That it's like, for people who haven't been there, it's a very diverse city in terms of its different biomes and districts. We have almost jungle-like nature up around the Potomac, and then these big wide open spaces of the mall really lends themselves to open area combat like we saw, where we can really think about, okay, how are we going to approach this situation?
Right, how to strategize exactly with like your team of co-op players, or I mean, you can go at it alone if you wanted to.
You can play everything in the Division, if you so will.
That's awesome. I mean, Yannick, I think we've got some questions from the community.
We've got a couple questions. We have XX Inside XX who's asking us, is the DZ coming back?
Absolutely, we're going to have Dark Zone in the Division 2. It's going to be a revised version of the Dark Zone, and it's going to be ready at launch.
Revised as in
nice.
As in absolutely fantastic.
The best Dark Zone ever. All right. We also have a Session who's asking, when does the beta start, and how to sign up to it?
What we try to do with the beta is that as long when we get closer to the launch, we want to be very, very prepared. And so closer to March 15, we're gonna be able to give you more details about how when we're gonna start the actual beta plan.
Okay, but you can sign up now.
You can sign up now, right? Exactly. thedivision.com/beta. Register now.
You're such a pro. You're so good.
And so, what kind of presents you guys have at E3 this year? You've got the booth, the Ubisoft booth, where people can play the demo that we're showing right now. And I believe ComDevs have some live streams on the Tuesday and Wednesday as well.
Yes, we're going to start our live streams tomorrow. We are going to be streaming for like 2 days, total of like 14 hours of live stream. We're going to be showing more of the demo. We're going to be sitting down with some of you guys, showing people from the team, showing people from the community. We have a lot of things coming.
Amazing. And so you mentioned a closed beta. People can register right now. Where is it that they could register? Is there a website?
I will say that again.
Do your thing.
And crossbows, and these really add on top of your other build that you're already creating to kind of just specialize you a little bit more, create interesting group synergies, and also just if you're a solo player, it lets you play the way you want to play.
Yeah.
Keep customizing.
So, I mean, you mentioned that end game first philosophy. Was that really something you took away from the Division 1 of giving players, a lot of things to do even after they finish the main campaign?
Oh yeah, I think if you see the type of stuff we continue to add, right, through year 1 and year 2, there were tons of different game modes, there were world expansions, there were Dark Zone expansions, all these things, and it's because the players who play this game are very passionate and they consume content, man, and you just always want to give them more stuff to play. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So yeah, we have the sharpshooter specialization up right now. Let's look in a little bit in depth in some of this gear.
Yeah, so you can also see here that your normal gear that you're equipping, your 6 major slots, have brands associated with them now. And that adds so much to the game because on top of trying to get a really good set of knee pads, you're trying to combine brands together in interesting ways as well. And it's just, I really think the core loot game is going to be super interesting in this one and in a real evolution.
Yeah, that's always what hooked me on the first Division.
Yeah. You can also see some of the new skills in play here, like there's a support drone that you can actually pop out and it follows you around the battlefield, and it makes you just have an evolved sense of the shade tech from the first game. It feels like heightened. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so as you mentioned, the sharpshooter comes with the sniper rifle. That's his signature, or his or her signature weapon. What other specializations are there?
Yeah, so there's a demolitionist, and they have a rocket launcher, and then there's also a specialization that gives you a crossbow with an exploding tip arrow, which is the fantasy of it is pretty amazing. But the weapon is just kind of like the centerpiece of the specialization. Just picking your specialization kind of adds to your toolbox. So it really opens up a whole new progression path, even past getting the weapon, which is, that's the front and center thing, but there's a lot of interesting progression inside of the system. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into the map a little bit and take a look at DC.
Yeah, so you can see here how big the map is compared to New York. So we're about 20% larger than the map we shipped within New York, which was already pretty massive. The E3 demo that people are playing kind of, takes place just in this one little section. And as you start pulling back the map from there, you can really see how much variety we're going to get out of this. Even at this very high level, you can see the difference between the really wide open spaces and start seeing all those different environments. So you can see, up in Georgetown, it's a very suburban feel, and versus, down here where most of the monuments are, like the Capitol that you can see in the background of the demo.
Look in Jefferson, Roosevelt Island.
Absolutely, yeah. Roosevelt Island really shows off that natural biome we were talking about.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, and then even the Air and Space Museum. We're here. We're looking at another museum, and I love the amount of realism that it feels like you guys put into this, the believability that this is what DC might look like if something like this happened.
Yeah, we wanted to make it feel real. We wanted to make it feel like 7 months had passed. We wanted you to feel the heat of what that city is like in summer when it started to flood and it's a little nasty, right? Yeah. But yeah, in the background here you can see the Gallery of Modern Art. And it's those types of things that, like the Air and Space Museum, right? Like exploring the city and really getting to see these monuments up close and personal, in a way that you would never be able to do in reality.
Yeah. what I think shows really well here, and what again the Division 1 did such a good job of, is that environmental storytelling. That you can walk through an area, a neighborhood, and find out what happened. Right? We could see here what exhibition was showing at the Gallery of Modern Art. Even.
You know, one really interesting thing is that the outbreak happened here at Christmas time as well. So we're in the summer, but you still see those remnants of Christmas, like famous Christmas trees that are really up in DC at that time of year are still there, but they're dead and their ornaments are hanging on them, and you get that sense of no one ever cleaned this up, and time passed and nature came out and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's bad enough faux pas leaving your Christmas tree up at New Year's, let alone well into summer. But yeah, that's a really great point. That the outbreak hits all at the same time. What happens when it's 6 months down the line, and how do you deal with that? Take a look at the map overall. So why don't we jump into that?
Yeah, cool. So this is the start of the demo that players can play on the show floor. So you can kind of see here, right away, summer, very different kind of environment. You can almost feel the heat. And if I jump into my inventory, you can start seeing some of the changes we made to that nitty-gritty part of the RPG. And the biggest change right off the bat is the specialization weapon, right? When you get...
Hold on, I just want to stop you right there. We're still talking a little bit more about DC, showing off some of the more detailed environments. And as you can see here from the stream, you guys put in so much care and depth into this world. I think it's one thing to build DC, it's a whole other thing to ruin it in a way, right?
Yeah, well, the whole world is made in layers, right? Like we start with that base DC, that one-to-one we were talking about, but then you're layering on top of that the story, right? What happened to these environments in the beginning part of the outbreak? What would have they been used for?
When you think of the United States, Washington, D.C. pops out as an iconic city with a history, and even almost a symbolism of being pure America. There's so many more environments to explore compared to New York, from nature to governmental sites and that strict, very powerful, brutalist architecture almost, to the suburbs of Georgetown.
Being able to see far and wide and predict what's in front of you, or being able to have like a truly 360 approach to some open world encounter that you're stumbling upon is very different from navigating the narrow streets of Georgetown.
We still remain an open world game with cover-based shooting mechanics, but you can imagine how that is tweaked when you're in a nature biome and your cover maybe is a fallen log of wood or something like that.
And also there's going to be, of course, difference in which factions are present where at any given time, and they're vying for control of the city as a whole.
The enemies that you'll be facing all have a vision for how the country should be run, whether it's the country or their little fiefdom, a few blocks, that sort of control. The enemy that we're featuring in the E3 demo are called the True Sons. And these are, the bullies that you had at school that used to push people around. They're people who really prey upon the weak. And their vision for the future of the States is one of tyranny, and that has to be stopped.
The enemy factions and the civilians, they're out acting with needs and goals and intention, and creating emergent activity and a surprise for you as a player.
So of course we'll still have safe houses. Those are incredibly useful gameplay-wise, but settlements are key locations. These are the locations where civilians are trying to rebuild. And by helping those civilians, we're going to be able to see a direct impact of your actions on the world. When you reach max level, when you finish the campaign, we're going to give you a choice of a signature weapon. Now, the 3 signature weapons that we're talking about today are the crossbow, the 50 cal sniper rifle, and the grenade launcher. So it's really about giving the option to the player of going deeper into a playstyle and choosing exactly how they want to play. Doesn't mean that they're mutually exclusive. You can mix and match. You can choose a 50 cal sniper rifle, unlock some of its advantages, and then decide, okay, I want to go to demolitionist with the grenade launcher and unlock some sort of mods for my skills based on that progression path too.
We really want Endgame to be for everyone. And we're making sure in the Division 2 that it's there, it's strong day one. It also caters to all types of players. Endgame doesn't equal hardcore, but it needs to have a deep hardcore aspect to it, so that if you really want to challenge, if you really want to compete, it's there for you.
Every single activity that we could dream of is only going to be expanded, and you'll have a choice of a huge amount of activities for Endgame. But we have a twist at the end of the campaign, which is a huge hook, narratively and gameplay-wise, that'll, you know, take people by the scruff of the neck and drag them into Endgame. And it's super compelling. And, you know, we revealed today that we're going to have raids for the first time. And that's 8-player raids. And those will be the most hardcore of challenges for Endgame.
It's very important for us that you get to play as you like. We're playing the raid as a full 8-man team. That variety of different specializations, but also different builds is going to be, of course, important.
Yeah. When the game sings, it's when you're playing with other players who know what they're doing and you can strategize. Just like the first game, the entire story-based campaign can be played only by yourself or in co-op with up to 3 other agents. Absolutely every single activity.
Washington, D.C., the most heavily protected city on Earth.
Within its limits, 177 foreign embassies, 550 elected officials, and 23,000 military personnel. In the event of an attack, critical personnel are evacuated, underground shelters open, while complex defense systems patrol the sky.
But nothing stopped the virus. 27 days after patient zero, Washington fell. It began with riots on K Street, then shootings in the National Mall. Troops withdrew to bunkers. Civilians were left in the streets.
America is on the brink of collapse, but some people have survived. Gardens grow on rooftops, their fences patrolled with rifles, in communities that live under constant siege. Survival has taken the form of urban warfare.
Centuries ago, on this very soil, brother fought brother, spilling blood to forge the United States. History is threatening to repeat itself.
Now, in the heat of summer, 6 months after the outbreak began, a remnant of a corrupt state lurks in the shadows, ready to engage in a new civil war.
Agents of the division are the only ones standing against it.
But how do you save a nation when its enemies come from within?